Hello and welcome to another special episode of Kakuchopurei's Talk Cock Sing Song TCSS. I'm joined by good old Nadine from where are you doing these days actually? You're writing for GameAxis,
And
you're
I'm
writing
writing
for
for
Rappler,
yeah.
and a bunch of other things. You're wearing a lot of hats, aren't you?
Yeah, I am wearing a lot of hats. So for now, I am representing both publications, covering here at ESGS.
Alright, cool. So since we're here at ESGS, by the time this video is out, it's all over. What do you think of the show so far?
Okay, ESGS 2018 is actually a pretty good show, pretty decent. I like the focus right now on hardware and esports, which kind of goes back to kind of reminds me of 2014, 2015, 2014, 2015 ESGS, where the focus really was just on hardware. Now, I'm not saying that we just saw hardware the entire time, but I do like the fact that they have bigger areas in the floor. But there was also some pretty good games out there, namely Capcom's.
Of course. At Capcom's booth, they actually had Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2, the remake.
Yes.
Remake, Resident Evil. Anyway, obviously, as I talked to you before, and I've had our previous chats, especially in the past TCSS episodes, you really like your action games a lot.
I love Devil May Cry. For just it's top part of my top 3. So I'm really excited that they were able to bring it here at ESGS.
Yeah, that demo they actually had is pretty awesome actually. And all the other things that you saw at ESGS, like any of the there's a lot of virtual reality stuff going on, especially Ace's side. There's
a lot of virtual VR stuff happening, and one of my favorites is actually maybe we can call them an indie group now, but it was from Shadowfront, I believe. Was it Shadowfront?
Oh, Shadowfront. They did a horror game.
They did a horror game.
Yeah.
I was able to play it right here. It was called Hang Up, and the idea is that you're just supposed to connect different lines. Now, you have a limited chance to connect to the right line. If you fail at it, something's gonna happen to the room you're in. And I really enjoy more than the visuals, because that's the interesting thing, right? Virtual reality, people think about visuals, and then in comes this game called Hang Up, and then it's not the visuals that's gonna strike you. It's the audio cues that are just going to, and I'm horrible at horror games.
It's like first person, you're in a dark room,
yes.
And have they revealed the ghost yet, or you have to find out at the end of the game?
Here's the thing, because there are little hints during my playthrough. I'm not sure with the others. During my playthrough, I was actually successful going through the end of it. The problem is, so while you're playing Hang Up. I keep saying Hang On.
No, you really like that Sega game, don't you? Because Hang On, it had the virtual reality version of Hang On, where you're on the bike and everything. That would be pretty cool. So anyway, go on, Hang Up.
So Hang Up, there's a cue there that kind of gives you a hint that, okay, I'm supposed to take off the connection, right? I'm supposed to hang up, right? And what happens is, you kind of remember that rule in your head, and it's embedded into you. Because if you fail to hang up, you just hear audio cues what was that? What's going on? And then you're kind of close to failing. The walls will turn red, and then there's gonna be blood everywhere. So you take it off, and what happens next is that kind of disciplines you, right? So at the end of the gameplay, when I plug in the final note that's supposed to give you the reason as to what in the world is happening to the situation at hand, you see you're kind of distracted by something, and then you pick it up, and then you're supposed to open it, but then I remember the conversation has ended.
Yeah.
I have to take out the cord. I did it both ways. I took out the cord and opened the book, and then I never found out what was happening at the end.
Oh, shit.
So they're all that suspense for nothing. But I really enjoyed it, because you would see shadows of the figure, and then you don't know whether you should turn around, and then there's going to be notes saying you should turn around, and then you have to kind of force yourself to understand what you should really do, because at the beginning of the game, it tells you when the answer is just right in front of you. Oh, so now you're it's a wonderful, horrible psychological experience playing that game, and I enjoyed it. That was just from one little booth in the entire ESGS floor.
Now, I understand, unfortunately I don't know much about the Filipino game scene here, but I just went downstairs, like, yes, it's very, very packed, a lot of passionate guys running around, playing the games they want to play, competing in the games they want, and I feel that the energy here is so much different compared to Singapore or maybe parts of Malaysia, but Malaysia is just as energetic, but you guys seem to have that special something. So, being Filipino yourself, what do you think is that special thing that drives all these conventions and this passion for gaming together?
We are all out. We love going all out. I remember during the first ESGS that I attended, which was the second one, 2014, there was almost like, there's very little things, very little, it was very small, kind of cute. It was the biggest at the time. There were other gaming festivals or gaming conventions happening, but it was the biggest at the time. And that being said, even if there's not much happening, you still see a flock of people coming in, and they're very, as you mentioned, it's not just energetic. Like, these guys are passionate. Like, you've probably met us during Dota 2 or League of Legends, and
Yes.
you guys have experienced how passionate, vocal we are.
Vocal.
So, bordering toxic, or going past toxic, but that's another story. But yeah, that's the thing. We go all out, and you would see if you saw like the PC rigs being set up.
Yes,
have
the
you
one
ever
at
seen
Asus,
those?
yeah.
Have you ever seen
So there's
those?
MSI, yeah.
You like their love for what they do is amazing, and you can see like we're actually in a separate media room above the whole floor. It's kind of packed with a lot of bloggers, a lot of people excited to write about ESGS, a lot of people who want to be proud about the whole gaming scene here. So yeah, if you're wondering why you encounter us being very vocal in games, it's very real here as well.
Yeah, I played my share of Arena of Valor and Mobile Legends.
I
and yeah, that's
apologize.
a lot. No, it's okay. I think trolls come from everywhere, no matter what.
That's very true, but I feel like, in a way, I don't know if gamers here are just owning it at this point, or like it's just innate. That's the thing, and another interesting thing about here is that, we come from different scales of, you have guys coming from little internet shops where they just little and overcrowded internet shops where if the capacity is at like 10, but there are 30 guys within that room, and then you can also see these guys who have more experience in creating very elaborate PC rigs. You got guys who are well versed in VR. We come from like very different backgrounds, and we don't really care that much. Like, if you tell me right now that you're mostly a VR kind of guy, then I'm like, yeah, sure, then want to try this game that I'm playing right now. So it's very community driven as well. So that's one thing that I would.
That's awesome to hear, actually. I hope that you come down to ESGS like more times, or any other events that's always happening here. So now it's close to the end of 2018. We're gonna be doing a special best of 2018 piece. Hopefully you can contribute your article if possible, like as a special guest of sorts.
Yeah, sure. I'll give it a shot.
But I want to find out, like, right now, before you play Red Dead Redemption 2, or you probably played it, but maybe after ESGS or something, what's your favorite game right now, like, of this year, that came out this year?
I don't want to say Red Dead Redemption yet, but right now God of War is still very close to my
alright,
heart.
same here. I got a love for God of War because of how it's been done.
Amazing. I love how people are complaining about, but there are no big bosses. Like, that's the thing.
That's
it's
cool.
a nice journey to it. Like, you're sure you're not gonna go and meet up Thor in the beginning. Wink. But
I'm sure you'll do that later on in
Yeah.
the expansions or the sequels. This game is built for sequels, but as
it's a nice
rebranding, it's pretty good.
and it's a gorgeous setup. Oh, come on. How can you not love God of War? God of War just blew my mind from the very beginning. Like, when I remember I was playing that game to review, so we're not supposed to talk about the games that we're reviewing. A bunch of guys within this room also got the review code. and everyone was just like, shit, I really love this game, but I don't want to overhype it.
Yeah.
I really, really love this game. And then when all the reviews were released, everyone was overhyping it. We're like, oh, thank goodness, I'm not the only one who thought this was amazing.
Yeah, I also got that same feeling too as well.
Yeah.
I bet. Okay, what was your favorite scene? I mean, among all the things that transpired, your favorite key moment, which I think might be the same as mine.
Oh, it's kind of hard actually, because for me, I'm not really in for the very huge climaxes, but of course the climax is really, like, I don't want to spoil, but it's seeing Atreus just character development. It's insane.
Oh yeah, that's also a given. That's really awesome.
I think that's the whole thing that I really enjoyed about it. Just watching Atreus, and also, like, I suddenly feel a lot of sympathy for Kratos, because like it's so bizarre seeing him stripped away from his brutal, violent,
He's like a different person, but he's still violent.
Different, but he's still violent, but he's not like all rage, all. Now he's like chill. Atreus, chill.
I've actually seen a lot of videos that dissected God of War and why it's not perfect, and while I actually agree with some of the bits there, I felt that this game for me was also everything about it, the main theme of father and son bonding, and in this harsh Norse land with all the crazy stuff happening, I felt that overcome all of his flaws.
Yeah.
But maybe for your side, you think about do you think the same way as well?
That's the thing. If you're already pulled into the game, especially pulled into the story where you're already heavily invested in it, like the whole scene of Kratos, where was that? When they were in the elf land?
Oh right, the flying elves, yes.
The flying elves. The climax of that particular area,
Yep.
he can hear. I mean, he was trying to stay within where he was, and then Atreus was trying to pull him back.
Oh yeah, the light thing.
Why
Yeah.
didn't you come back? Like those those aren't little elements. Like, those huge narrative elements just pulled me in, so that I completely ignored all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like it's not perfect, but that's the thing, right? No game is perfect.
There never is.
You
a
can tell me
game.
that RDR is 10 out of 10. Blah blah blah. But 10 out of 10 does not mean it's perfect.
Yes.
There are gonna be flaws. It's just that it's the highest recommendation that you can get.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the best. It's one of the best. So, in a game like God of War, and maybe perhaps when I finally dive in deep into Red Dead Redemption, I'll feel the same way. Like, even if there are flaws, I'd love it anyways, because those are just tiny things that you can get rid of easily.
All right, that's well said. You just took the words out of my mouth. And with that, I think we can end our session. So, you want to say more things to camera before we cut off the show?
Okay, so I'm going to take this opportunity now, and I did not tell you. I'm sorry, I should tell you. Told you. I write for Rappler and GameAxis. I mostly write news and a couple of reviews and features. However, I am also launching my own blog, which is GameProgression.com. GameProgression.com, which will be right after ESGS, so maybe during the time of this filming, is not about news. It's not about the rushing through the review cycle. You're not going to see quick takes from me. You are going to see perceptions, opinions. You want to know more about the Filipino gaming scene, that's what I'm mostly going to cover. I'm going to talk to people in the industry, going to talk to people who are outside the industry, and yeah, there you go.
Alright, awesome. Check it out, Game Progression, when it's out. When this video is probably out too as well,
Yeah.
after ESGS. And this is Nadine, freelancer at large, loving games as usual. And this is me, Mr. Toffee, Jonathan Toya, signing out.